Hi fans of high quality entertainment. Today's video is on genres, and I feel, with my CD collection that I have a pretty wide selection of genres for music. If somebody is just into classic rock, that's the only genre that they listen to, it's their choice. But I've always been open to genres in music, and I think it's mainly because of the Beatles. Because the Beatles, through their years, they did so many different genres. And so I think John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And some other bands, of course, too. So these aren't in any order, they're not ranked or anything. I'm just picking one artist or one band for each of these genres. And of course, each of these bands is known for usually more than one genre. And I'll list the main ones that are mentioned that I found on Wikipedia. Always believe Wikipedia. So first up is a band that I heard in the 70s. My brother had one of their albums and I really liked it. I think I ended up having it on vinyl, and then I didn't forget about them, but I just never had them in my CD collection, and I've started to collect their albums in the last few months, and I really enjoy them. And they do progressive rock, space rock, and jam rock. And they are Nectar. Their first album, Journey to the Center of the Eye, which is more, I guess, psychedelic rock than progressive rock. Sounds like this, a double. Probably their most popular. It went to number 19 on the US charts. Remember the Future. Recycled. And Down to Earth. And of course, with prog rock, I love Genesis, and of course, Yes is probably, well, it is. They are my favorite prog rock band. Now, next up for a genre is jazz. Thanks to Frank Zappa and listening to Hot Rats and the Grand Wazoo, I really, it took me a couple of listens, but I learned to really appreciate the music. And I now really appreciate Miles Davis, who does jazz and bebop, amongst other genres. So there's Bitches Brew, which I proudly got for $3. And I also have this original album classic series. The one I love on this is On the Corner, but it also has Jack Johnson, Big Fun, and Water Babies. And Big Fun is 2 discs. Yeah. Punk rock, power pop, and pop. That describes Ramones. And I also love the Sex Pistols, a band called the Vibrators that did kind of power punk, and some other punk rock music. And I have 3 of their albums. I just love the first 4 albums by Ramones and their live album, the first live album, which I have a box set of. Next up, so there's 15 genres in total I have here. But like I said, there's more than one genre in each of these artists, for the most part. Next up, psychedelic funk, funk rock, progressive soul, and psychedelic soul. Who could it be? Why, it could be Sly and the Family Stone. And I just read today that I guess Sly Stone has a book coming out about his life in September, which I'm going to look forward to. There might be a page or two on drugs. Next up is a band known for art rock, glam rock, pop rock, progressive rock, art pop, new wave, soft rock, synth pop, and sophista pop. All of these labels. In the long run, it's all just music. But I think I'm missing their... I also have a 5, just like the Miles Davis, I have a 5-disc box set of theirs. But this is their debut album, Roxy Music. And you could, I guess, subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Remember to subscribe. You could also describe Sparks as a lot of those. Art rock, kind of glam rock, pop rock. And there's a picture, I think after a live concert that Sparks did of them with Brian Ferry. So he's a fan of Sparks, which is cool. I wasn't lying. There you go. So this one contains Viva Roxy Music, their live album, Stranded, Manifesto, Flesh and Blood, and Heart Still Beating. Now we get on to pop rock, bubblegum, country pop, and psychedelia, which would be the Monkees. Yeah, I love the Monkees. And this is really excellent because it contains a lot of bonus tracks. And for a while it was very expensive to get, but then I got this, I think, for like $20. So hopefully, if you're interested, check it out and see if it's still on for a good price. Next up is a band, once again punk rock, but they also do post-punk, art punk, experimental rock, alternative rock, and electronic. And I love, love, love the first 3 Wire albums. Pink Flag, Chairs Missing, and 154. Really good. If you've never heard Wire, you should check them out. Next up, folk, pop, jazz rock. Who could it be? Well, it could be Joni Mitchell. And I just recently bought these 2 box sets of her first 8 studio, well, one's live, of her first 8 albums. And, you know, I also love Bob Dylan, and Jane Siberry, and other like folky kind of, or folk pop, or whatever you want to call it. But sometimes I like to get really heavy, man. And probably the best, well, one of the best for heavy metal, hard rock, and speed metal. And no, it isn't Metallica. It is, I have to say this too, friggin' Motorhead with Ace of Spades, Inferno, their final album, Bad Magic, and No Sleep Till Hammersmith. This is the deluxe version of the live album. Of course, my favorite heavy metal band is Black Sabbath, the Aussie years. But like I said, I also love Motorhead. and I like the blues, and the band that really got me to appreciate blues is, well, blues rock, boogie rock, and just plain old rock is Canned Heat. Yeah, this was the album I bought in a cutout bin probably about 1969, and I've loved it ever since. And they also have Livin' the Blues, their double album. Boogie with Canned Heat. Future Blues. And their double album with John Lee Hooker. Hooker and Heat. And of course, sadly, after this recording, Alan Wilson had passed away, so they paid tribute to him with that framed photo there. You know, I'm so hip, I even enjoy electronic, synth pop, electro pop, art pop, avant-garde, and krautrock. rock. Because I'm a fan of Kraftwerk. And I think that because I enjoyed this when it came out, I think 1974 for this, 73, 74. I also have Radioactivity, which is actually my favorite album of theirs. But I think it's because of appreciating this when Sparks went into synth music, like electronic synth pop or whatever with Number One in Heaven. I loved it right away. So, Kraftwerk. Now, next, 4 genres to go. Americana, plus rock, pop, rhythm and blues, and soul. It is Randy Newman. I've always loved Randy Newman. Yeah, I used to have all of those albums on vinyl back in the day. And then Born Again. Next up, I do love some old country, Merle Haggard, Roger Miller, George Jones, blah, blah, blah. And this person does country, rockabilly, rock and roll, folk, blues, gospel, outlaw. It is the great Johnny Cash. And yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite albums. American For the Man Comes Around. And this artist does country rock, folk, gospel, soul, and choral music, whatever that is. The great Gene Clark from The Byrds. Once again, one of my all-time favorite albums, no other. And this is the deluxe version with a second disc with the sessions where it's not as produced, and some of them are demos or whatever, but it doesn't have all of the fancy production, and it's excellent. But I love the fancy production of the original album too. Highly recommend it. And last, this band does space rock. Like Pink Floyd. I love Pink Floyd too. Space rock, hard rock, progressive rock, psychedelic rock, acid rock, and proto-punk. Who knew? And it is Hawkwind. Warrior on the Edge of Time, a box set. And Hall of the Mountain Grill. And of course Lemmy was in this band in the early years. And their live album, Space Ritual. So yeah, like I feel overall I'm not stuck as much as, the Beatles are always going to be number one for me. But it's because of the Beatles, and like I said, all of the different music they did through the years, that I appreciate, quite a few genres. I'm not a fan of rap. I'll get negative now. I'm not a fan of rap music. Certainly not today's pop music or new country. So there are genres that I dislike. But overall, I'm pretty open. So I'd be curious, what genres of music do you like? Maybe list a few different artists that are, different from each other, like I just did here, hopefully. And I'll read each and every comment. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.